All right, let's see. I got my phone, wallet, keys. Yes, good to go. All right, let's hit the road. Oh, you know what? Got my mouthpiece. Oh, shh. I think I hit someone. Did I bump you, man? I'm sorry about that.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
You gotta be kidding me, buddy. Who taught you how to drive?
Yeah, man, my apologies. That was an accident.
No, I don't want to hear it. This is a classic 2016. Are you kidding me? I hope you got insurance to pay for this.
I don't really see any damages, man. I mean, like
You know
I said,
what?
I'm sorry.
Forget the insurance. Come on, buddy.
You gotta relax, man. You gotta chill. All right, you gonna take it easy? What's going on, guys? Shane here.
What's my line? I'm in.
Man,
I'm in. I got it.
kicking it old school, bringing it back with some self-defense fight tips videos for you guys. Let's start off with the first tip on how to win a street fight. So here are 10 tips on how to win a street fight, starting with number 1, which is being able to identify when your personal safety is at risk versus your ego that's being threatened. All right, so Am, how would you define ego?
I go waffles.
Exactly. So your ego is what makes you you. It's your own personal thoughts, beliefs, feelings towards things, but it's often very fragile. And when it's threatened, we get angry, we get hostile, right? So in the scenario earlier, we saw that Ant had a lot of pride in his car.
This is a classic 2016.
And the idea of that being threatened, that being damaged, even though there was no damage done, got him angry. And then I could have matched that if my ego got in the way. I could have then gotten angry, and then it would have escalated quickly. We would have gotten into a fight. But instead, you want to try to stay calm. You want to not take things personally, because it wasn't my intention to actually do damage to Ant's car, right? In the scenario, I didn't know who he was. If he can realize that in the moment, then we can handle it in a much more civil manner, all right? So this is much easier said than done, but it's going to bring you the best results, because avoiding the fight is winning the fight. All right, guys, now tip number 2 is verbal diffusion, knowing how to talk your way out of a fight. Let's say it's a scale, right? I get out of the car and I'm calm and relaxed. Let's say that's a 1. Ant gets out of the car and he's angry. Let's say that's like a 6. If you get to a 10, assume he's going to throw a punch. That's a fight, right? So we want to try to bring him down. I can try to match him if my ego gets in the way and be at a 6, but then it's probably going to climb. He's going to go to a 7 or an 8. It's going to go back and forth, and then a fight's going to break out, right? So we want to try to bring him down. So Ant, let's go back and forth with just a little dialogue here about what happened. So I bumped into you. You get out of the car. You slam the door, and you say something along the lines of,
Yo, buddy, what do you think you're doing?
all right, and from here, like I said, I could be angry right back, but instead I'd say, oh man, I'm really sorry about that. It was an accident. I didn't mean to bump into you.
Listen, man, I hope you got insurance to be able to pay for this. It's a classic car.
And at this point, you know, be realistic. It's like, look, man, I do have insurance, but I don't see any damage done here.
That ain't the point, buddy. All right, you backed into me. I'm having a bad day. You know what? It's just the icing on the cake.
And then from here, I could say you want to empathize with them, and you want to make sure that they are being heard. So you say something like, "Look, man, I totally understand why you're upset, but surely you can see, you know, this was just a mistake on my part. I didn't mean to do it."
Yeah, you know, I understand. Like I said, I'm having a bad day. You know what? It ain't a big deal. You got insurance. We'll get it taken care of.
There we go. All right, we'll share our information. We'll take care of it with the insurance, right? And this goes for a road rage situation, but this goes for pretty much any scenario where you can talk to someone. If there's that point where you can talk to someone, then try to verbally diffuse it, try to bring them down. Granted, there's going to be situations where people are already at a 10. They come out and they're about to throw that punch. Now, you have to be able to recognize those certain cues, and we're going to talk about them in the upcoming tips. All right, next tip is being able to identify aggressive body language on someone. So let's say I bump into Ant, right away he hops out of the car, super aggressive, and he gets in my face, something like this. Maybe a little less animated, but if he's got his fist cocked, he's swinging his arms, he's in a bladed stance, different things like this. If he starts closing the distance on me, right, he's getting close to me, you should feel threatened. He's coming into your zone. If he's close enough to hit you, you should be thinking that way. All right, maybe I got to blade my stance a little bit. Maybe I got to start to lift my shoulder up a little bit. One thing I like doing is getting in the I don't want any trouble stance, right? So you got your hands out. Very simple from here to parry punches, right? Ant throws a punch of any kind, bang, right? I can lift my head up and go helmet guard from here. I can post out on his face. I can eye gouge even if I have to from there. But identifying the different aggressive body language. Other things are rolling the sleeves up if he's got a long sleeve shirt on. If he's screaming or screaming to the point where spit's coming out of his mouth, right? That's a little animalistic. So these are different things that you need to be able to identify in the moment. But these are things that you can see even in like movies, or if you watch street fight footage, you'll be able to watch and see these different things that people do. And there's almost like a moment where it clicks, and it's like, you know that that person has already passed that point of no return. They're going to throw a punch. They've already decided it in their mind, and it's going to happen. All right. Now, this scenario that we showed in the beginning was actually based on a true story. So the day before my wedding, when I married Marie, who's behind the camera right now, I forgot my memory card for the camera, and I was pulling out of the spot, and I was like, oh, I forgot the memory card. So I started to back up, and someone pulled into the spot behind me. I bumped into him. He got really aggressive in my face. And what I did at first, I said, man, I'm sorry. And he said, you're sorry. And he got really close to me. And when he did, I said, yes, I said, I'm sorry. So I started off calm and relaxed. And then I went with a firm apology. And I said, yes, I said, I'm sorry. One hand extended, one hand made a fist. And I saw his eyes go right to the fist. And he made that connection. All right, I shouldn't take another step closer. Now, two things can happen here. All right, two things could be either I don't want any of that, or he could see that as a challenge and be like, oh, what, you got your hands cocked? So this is something that, you know, I'm providing some advice here based on true events. Luckily, in the scenario, in the real life scenario when this happened, I got the first one where he backed up and he's like, you know, this is a classic, man. He was really upset about it, but he didn't want to actually engage in a fight. But he was getting very close to me. I thought he was going to attack first. I kept my distance with this long arm out, and then I made that fist. So again, using body language yourself to kind of convey the message. All right, now we're going to go into, should you throw that first punch? All right, now here's a question that everyone should ask themselves, because I can't answer it for you. And the question is, should I throw the first punch? You have to identify your own morals, your own values, and truly it's up to you on whether or not you're going to throw the first punch. Me personally, I think I can use a punch preemptively to stop an attack if I followed all of the other previous tips first, okay? Meaning I identified my ego and I didn't let it get in the way. I tried to calm him down. I tried to verbally diffuse it. I tried to keep my distance, but he's showing all of that aggressive body language. He's in my face. I feel that threat is coming. Then I want to use my punch as a form of self-defense. And that's what self-defense is. It's you are allowed to use the amount of force needed to stop the threat that's coming at you. All right. So if Ant's all the way over there and he goes, man, I'm really upset about my car, I can't walk up and punch him in the face. I'm the aggressive person at that point. But if instead Ant's getting in my face and I got my arm fully extended, I use my physical length right here of my arm to decide whether or not he's within punching range. If Ant comes in and I feel his chest on my hand, well, even before he throws a punch, if he's walking at me like this, or he's getting real close in my face, and I'm here, I'm like, don't step any closer, man. And then he takes that extra step. All right, something like this, it's not super aggressive, but if I see the fist cocking back, if I see him loading up for a shot, and I feel that my fingertips are touching his chest, then at this point, I'm gonna go first, personally. Okay. I'm gonna try to use that as a form of self-defense to stop him. All right. You need to identify it right now. Don't think, all right, I'm gonna make up my mind when the fight happens. There's going to be different scenarios, so you have to decide what is that point at which you really feel physically threatened. Again, not your ego, not your pride. This is when you feel I have to throw this punch in order to stop this threat from hurting me, from it getting any worse. Okay, so if you don't throw the first punch, then you have to trust that you're going to defend it, and then you're going to react accordingly. So let's say I have my arm out or whatever, I'm right here, and Ant throws the first punch now. I'm not ready. Then from here, I'm either going to take a shot, which is likely going to happen. If he doesn't telegraph it, if he just kind of throws a shot, cold cocks me, and I'm not ready for it, it's probably going to land. So that's why, like, I always talk about keeping my distance, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next point. This is something that you have to get the reps in, whether you have a heavy bag or you're shadowboxing or you're doing partner drills. This is something that, no, I'm not even going to talk
Doing
about
partner drills on FightTips.com.
There you go, yeah.
There you go.
All
Plug. Shameless.
All right, now we're going to talk about understanding range and distance. In fighting, it is probably one of the most important aspects, and it's really one of the reasons why you should sign up for FightTips.com. There's the plug. All right, so there's a couple of different things that vary up range and distance. Obviously, positioning of the body, so footwork and where I'm standing. Also, the length, wingspan or height, right? So Ant's a little bit taller than me. His arms are a little bit longer, means he can reach me before I can reach him, right? If you hold your jab hand out or your right hand out. Okay, let's go.
Monster mash.
Pick one. He can touch my forehead. He can touch me before I can touch him, all right? Meaning I have to be a little bit closer. But you want to know what your weapons are and how to reach them with those, all right? So I have my jabs, my crosses. Hooks are going to be a little bit more looping, so they're going to be a little bit shorter range. The longest weapon that we have, our legs are our longest limbs, so the front push kick or a side kick is going to be my longest range attack. Most people will say you shouldn't kick in a street fight. I say if you know how to kick and the situation permits, meaning you're not on loose gravel, you're not on snow or ice or wet grass or something like that, and you feel comfortable throwing kicks, then you can use them. All right. Real quick, we're going to talk about how to make a fist when throwing a punch. All right, because most people damage their hands in a street fight. Our skull is made to protect our most vital organ, our brain, right? So it's hard, it's thick. And our hands are made for intricate things like throwing a ball, writing, painting, things like that. So when you make a fist, most people will say, curl the hands in, squeeze the thumb underneath. But one thing that I have found that has really protected my hand and wrist is, imagine that you're holding onto a glass straw. All right, some people will call this fist loading because people will put a roll of quarters or a lighter in their hand. And not only does that add a little more density and weight to the hand, but it also protects the fingers, all right, so that you don't overextend them going this way. This is how a lot of that damage happens. Sometimes it's a boxer's fracture to this part of the hand because they hit with the incorrect knuckles, or it's stretching the tendons, the ligaments in the fingers or in the wrist. So what I want you guys to start practicing doing is imagine you're holding onto a glass straw. You don't want to break that straw when you throw the punch. Okay, so now not only do we have structure to the hand, but it's less likely to cave in this way when we throw that punch, so a stronger impact, okay? So a couple different techniques, a couple different weapons right there. We have straight punches, we have hook punches, we have uppercut punches, we have teeps, front push kicks, we have side kicks. These are things that are pretty natural to the human body, but again, join fighttips.com if you want like the actual technique breakdowns for how to throw these individual strikes. Now let's talk about defense. All right, now we're going to talk about blocking punches and also a little bit more about range. So, Ant, what would you say is the most commonly thrown strike in a street fight?
Haymaker. Make the world go round.
The king of haymakers. Most people are right-handed. This isn't always going to be the case, but most likely it's going to be a right punch to the face. We got different ways of defending against it. Let's talk about the previous one. We talked about range. I can be outside of that punch range, right? Ant throws a right haymaker. I can step away and create a lot of distance. This one is going to be your natural reaction, but it's a little bit dangerous. Again, if I don't understand the range correctly, Ant's a little bit longer. If I don't step back enough or lean back enough, he still may catch me, right? So Ant throws a right hand, and I step back, but not enough. He catches me. Really bad spot, especially if you lean back and your chin is up, all right? So instead, what I want you to do is sometimes crash the range, and that's what I did in the video, is I went underneath and into him. Think about running into the fire, right? So he throws that punch, I got underneath, I still protected my head, and then closed off the distance by getting a body lock, okay? Let's talk about defending these punches with blocks. I always talk about pillars or shields. Think about your arms as shields, all right? So if someone were to shoot an arrow at you, right? Ant shoots an arrow, that arrow comes flying at me. I want to block that with my shield this way. Instead of trying to like smack it or karate chop it out of the air, right? A lot of people have trouble with parries. Instead, just use your whole forearm as a shield here. And if he's throwing a looping punch, instead of trying to, again, like deflect it or parry it, I'm just going to catch it with my whole shield. I'm going to answer the telephone, right? It's one of Ant's favorite references.
Hello.
Hello? Bring the wrist up to your ear, answer the telephone, Ant throws that punch, and I go here. Again, I can crash the range and step in. Boom, now I have a strike. I have an elbow to the face, okay? So keeping your hands up from the I don't want any trouble stance, Ant throws that right hand, which is likely going to come. I step in, I protect myself while adding some offense to it as well, okay? So using these shields, again, just adjust accordingly, whether it's palm in to protect yourself and grabbing your own head, or if I want to try to catch these shots coming in, then I'm going to go palm out, right? If Ant's like throwing jabs, which probably, I'm not going to like square up with someone and he's throwing jabs, but that's what that would look like at a longer range, or what they call a long guard. So long guard, short guard, but again, in a street fight, it's going to be so chaotic. It's not really going to be like a boxing match like that. It's going to be these big punches, right? Aggressive. It's going to be like a tornado, Tasmanian devil, and you want to try to control them. So there's probably going to be a lot of grappling involved, and that's why you saw in that intro video, I covered up, I went underneath, grabbed that body lock, and then tried to restrain him from there. Let's talk about how to eat a punch, how to take a punch, because it's going to happen. You're going to get caught, right? And instead of getting punched and going, oh my God, I got hit, it's over, I'm losing, I want to give you guys some confidence and understand how to properly take a punch and take as little damage as possible. Say Ant is successful with that haymaker that he throws. If my chin is up, bad, no good. All right, so right away, even from this I don't want any trouble stance, notice as soon as I do that, my shoulders flex forward. It's because I want a little bit of that protection. I'm using that end of the shield to protect my jaw. All right, this is the magic button that you don't want them to press. Okay, so right away I'm here and throws a punch. I want to take it on the forehead, much better. Like I said, the skull is very hard. His hands are a little bit more fragile. It's not good to get hit. I'm not saying you should get hit, but it's much better to take it here, boom, high, not the eyebrow. The eyebrow is going to split open. It's going to rattle you. Instead, we want to get like, imagine where a crown would land on your head, and that's the strongest part of the skull. All right, so again, my shoulders are going to flex up, my chin is going to go down. I'm going to try to keep my eyes open. Why? So that I can see where that punch is coming from, and I can also move with it, and then I'm also open for my counter. But that's the next tip. So when Ant throws that punch again, I'm here, bang, I'm lifting my shoulders up, I'm tucking my chin, I'm bracing for it. Now when that punch lands, I can also move with it, right? Instead of taking the brunt, what's going to be a worse accident? If it's two cars in a head-on collision, or if one car is driving this way and another one's driving a little bit faster, it's just going to bump into it. So think about it like that. That's one car, here's the other car, I'm going to move with it, bang, and my eyes are open. Much easier said than done, but now let's talk about how to counter from there. All right, how to finish a fight now. All right, so the punches were thrown. Maybe I got hit, maybe I blocked it. The number one thing that should be on your mind is safety. At what point can I exit at a safe point? Like a lot of people will say, if you can run, run. And that's true, but like I also don't want to turn my back on Ant. But what if I'm in a scenario, what if I'm indoors, what if I'm right here and I got nowhere to run, right? So you want to try to get to a position where they're either restrained or you completely nullified them and you created enough distance, so if you push them, they land on their butt or they fell or something like that, and you have enough time to run, then yeah. And if you think you can outrun them, then find the nearest store or house or church or something and get in there somewhere where you're safe. But let's talk about countering. So Ant throws that right hand. I eat it. I didn't judge it right. It hits me. From here, like I said, you want to think fight fire with fire. I'm going bang. I'm going right back into him. If I have to close the distance, I will. But again, one of my favorite things, this sounds bad, but one of my favorite things to do in a street fight is push. Just a straight arm push to the chest. Bang. A lot of distance, right? He moves back. He's stumbling. I created that 6 feet distance that we're supposed to with social distancing. And now, now I find my exit. I turn and run. So this is a lot, it has to do with, awareness of where you are in your environment. This is why anytime the moment I leave my house, I'm constantly thinking about exit strategies, right? If I'm in a movie theater, if I'm in a restaurant, wherever, I constantly am just thinking, all right, there's my escape, there's my escape. If something were to happen, I'm making sure I have all bases covered. I see everyone that's in there. I'm constantly monitoring and ready to go. All right, so you should be thinking the same way. Again, we're trying to cover all the bases here on this video and make it a one-stop shop for you guys, but a lot of it is mindset, a lot of it is awareness. Next up, we're going to talk about a little bit more specific things, which is aggression, when you're fighting an aggressive fighter or how to be aggressive yourself. We're at tip number 9 now. If you made it this far, awesome. You're getting into the proper mindset. Now, speaking of mindset, I know some people watching are very calm, right? They're like, I'm always at a level 1. I need help being a little bit more aggressive. And understand that it's a mindset. Truly, it really is, to be able to get there or to be able to get yourself there in the heat of a moment. And I'm going to give you a couple physical cues to try to get there, but just know like that in the moment, in a street fight, it's usually much better to be aggressive. Like it's going to be quick, it's going to be chaotic, and you want to overwhelm. So when you do that, I want you to sit your weight down, so bend your knees and get a little bit lower. This is going to help you out with your balance. I want you to think of the word overwhelm. Overwhelm them with strikes. So whether it's hammer fist, clawing, punches, palm strikes, elbows, like get on them, and again, be like Tasmanian devil, be all over them, try to knock them off balance while maintaining your balance. In addition to that, grunt, make noises, scream, draw attention to people that are around so that they can intervene, so that they can call the police, again, so it can get broken up quick. So being aggressive, like I said, is a state of mind, but just, again, use that word, think of that word, overwhelm them. What would overwhelm you? Do that to them. All right, now let's say it's the other side. Let's say they're very aggressive and you want to be able to beat them. The first thing I want to say is be confident. Be confident that you're going to win. If there's any seeds of doubt in your mind, they're going to blossom and you're going to lose because that's what you're thinking about. So believe that you're going to win, be confident that you're going to win, and let's talk about some different ways that we can beat that aggressive fighter, right? So Ant comes in aggressive. Again, I can fight fire with fire and be aggressive right back, but again, I want to negate his strengths. He's throwing these looping punches from my head, then I want to get under, like we talked about earlier. He throws a big, whatever, any punch, right? I sit down, I get under, I keep my head protected, I can headbutt him on the way in, then I get that body lock, and then I can take him down, I can throw him down, or again, just like clinch up and control. If he's coming towards me, another option is play Ole with the bull, right? The bullfighter. He's got the red flag and ants the bull, right? He goes through and I move out of the way. So in a street fight, it's not going to be as pretty as a boxing match. You're not going to look like Lomachenko, but instead, I still want you to grab onto clothing, to grab onto the head, to grab onto the ears. Those big old ears, the ant right there, right? Ant comes in very aggressive. I'm still protected. I grab this shirt and I throw him into the fence. I created that distance. Now I can turn and go. All right. So again, a lot of this stuff we use metaphors like playing with the bull, or you know, because it is a mindset thing. And once you get your mindset there and start thinking this way, when it happens in a fight, as long as you're properly training for it, just watching YouTube videos is only going to help so much. So you gotta really do the partner drills. You got to do scenario-based training. You got to get your heart rate up. You got to get that adrenaline pumping. You got to get it as realistic as possible so that when that fight does actually happen, you go, okay, I know exactly what to do. I've been here before, time and time again. I know how this happens. I know how it ends. I win. I come out on top, 100% of the time. All right, guys, there you have it. 10 tips on how to win a street fight. Now, again, most fights are avoidable. As long as your pride or ego doesn't get in the way, you don't go out looking for fights. And if you see threats or anything like that, avoid them to the best of your ability. Now, there's going to be situations where you can't avoid it. And when that happens, now you know what to practice for those scenarios. All right? Until next time, be sure to subscribe to get the fight tips before your opponent does. I'm Shane.
I'm Ant.
Fight tips for the underdogs. Doing the clap. Let's go! That ain't a fight tips video without the bloopers. Are you going to give him a little peek?
Sunglasses, like. Man.
There you go. California, let's go!